CASE and ACE and AGB are launching Discover the Next, which is an initiative aimed at enabling colleges and universities to share and reinforce amongst their and our audiences the many benefits that they have on individual lives, community, and society as a whole, and the actions they are taking to address concerns about access, affordability, and attainment. So if I can ask each of you to be brief, but I'd like to ask you, apart from inviting those who haven't already signed up to Discover the Next to do so, one piece of advice would you share as we embark on this collective effort to demonstrate value? And Anna-Marie, can I start with you?
Well, boy, I would just say, I think that we just have to own up to the fact that this is existential. I think that we take for granted that higher education in this form will always be around, and we cannot take that for granted. If we don't change, we could disappear. And I'm particularly concerned about that for low-income kids. I get very concerned about getting to the point where, an in-residence education is going to be for high-income kids who can afford it because the public isn't going to support it, but you can, and then everyone else will be Zooming or getting alternate degrees. This is existential. We have to do this work, and we have to do it all together, and we have to involve everybody on our campuses, from student leaders to faculty leaders to our regents and trustees. And alumni.
And alumni. Thank you. Teresa?
I think I'd say two things. I think one, it's really, we have to work on this together to tell more cohesive stories and to kind of think about it collectively. It is industry, it is government, it is academia, it is private, it is civil society generally. I think the other thing, I continue to really think there's something about focusing on the community. I was so amazed at what this Puget Sound did in response to COVID that really demonstrated the power of community and the role that the university played, and the role that the universities played, the roles that the private sector played, the role that government played. That's a really powerful story, and if we can find those places where the community comes together, and maybe it's in an unfortunate disaster, and maybe it's for a football game, but to create those connections to community, I think will help remind people why it matters.
Thank you. Ted?
I think we've talked about it a lot, but I think that we need to move our mindset toward listening and understanding the different language that the public uses talking about us than we use talking about ourselves. Yeah. That, if you run across somebody in the street and they're speaking a foreign language, you actually don't want to talk louder. That's not how you get them to understand. And I think that that's where we are. And I think that what we've all been talking about is, let's really listen to the words, the grammar, the logic, the assumptions, the data behind what people are saying, and then let's look inside and tell the stories that will match that will meet those concerns.